we got to make sure that we got to make sure that like when we're making it, we have to make sure to just really remain on task.
Yeah.
So
I remember that one. I remember. Yeah.
Reggie wasn't really.
Yeah. I don't think Reggie was there for that session, but
He know what we talking about though. What's good, my people? We're in here checking in today with another episode of Inside the Vibe. Today I have Hantz, Lakeside Vagabond. He is a philanthropist, rapper, creative director. I don't want to forget anything. Producer, artist, and business owner. And we're here to talk today with him about, his project, what he has going on, and, what has led him to the seat, to the couch.
yeah.
So let's get right into it. We're gonna start off with Set the Flow, our favorite game to get this stuff going. And I'm gonna time you. I have a question and you have 45 seconds to answer.
All right.
If you could mix 3 entertainers across all mediums and professions to make the perfect musician, who are your selections? Go.
Across any
mediums, it doesn't matter, any genre, alive or dead, doesn't matter.
I'll probably say Ye. There's another visual artist. His name is William Pope L. And I feel like Denzel Washington, just for like level-headedness.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at those selections.
Yeah.
Denzel, K-Polk, and Ye.
Yeah. Oh, William Pope L.
William Pope L.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. William Pope L. Ye and
Yeah.
Denzel. Okay. Can act. What does William Pope L do?
This is like visual art. He does performative art as well.
Okay.
Definitely someone that I came across his work probably like around like 2018, 2019. Really heavily inspired by like just how he leans fully into like a quirkiness, but like he's able to like align that with a certain message as well. So he actually recently passed away, but he's definitely someone I think I pull from a lot as far as like just approach like
Got it.
to the process of making art.
So you picked, like you said, like I would just call, I guess, him a general artist, and
Yeah.
I guess Kanye too, bunch of different mediums, and then you have an actor in Denzel. Like, do the people I feel like you picked are very like distinct in their paths, I guess careers or spaces.
Yeah.
Do you kind of like try to channel those people when you're making, I guess, the music videos or when you're rapping or whatever? Because I feel like when you make music, it's like a whole production. Like it's a music video, but it's like almost like a indie film when it comes together. So how are those 3 men present from your perspective in your work, like when you approach it?
Well, I'll say maybe like less Denzel. I think I just appreciate him for the fact that like I think now more than ever, like just hearing him speak about just like how you carry yourself is something that I think like a lot of artists should embody. But as far as like Hope L and like Ye, I think just masters of just making like really distinct works. I think that's what I pull from most. But obviously you can't run too far from like your influences, like they creep out. No matter like how deep into your career, no matter like how vast like your tenure is in like making art, but I think like now more than ever, it's less about like I want to make like a version of the thing that they're making, and more so about like, okay, this is how they approach art. Like when I hear them speak about it, and then when I see the product, or when I hear the product, it's like, okay, now it's less about like pulling from my influences, and it's more about like studying their approach and then pulling that from like within myself or within my own life.
So making it your own, but from like their perspective.
Yeah.
So in like the pieces of art you've released, do you find that your role in it is generally the same? Or
it definitely changed over time, where like as before it was just me and writing verses or coming up with hooks and then performing that on the record. But I think like as I connected with a lot more artists of different mediums that helped and had a hand in like all the works that I've come up with, it became an opportunity for me to like learn from them as well. But right now I feel like really hands-on with like each step of the way. Like even if I'm not the one that's like technically doing it, like I really take pride in like trying to be there every step of the process, because one, it allows you to understand the other artists that's in the room.
Yeah.
It allows you to fully be grateful and appreciate like the process that it takes, instead of just like passing things off. And then and I think like gradually over time, you're able to figure out full alignment like with your art. So it's like working on visuals or working on design, working on like production, and like even if I'm just like, you know, watching that or just in the room and I'm just seeing that like come into fruition, I'm able to be like, okay, like this is how someone is interpreting my like music or like the bass work, right? Or this is how someone interprets like my my mind, even that, like so I think that's where now it's shifting into like I'm able to like play even more of a role in like the hands-on process. I think right now is like it's become just like a mode of expression. Like I think that's the main thing I'm trying to do within art is like, it's like as a kid, like you just, like no one told you like to draw to make a product, or no one told you to like start singing a song to do this thing. Like there wasn't much structure to a lot of like the things that you do. I mean now like I'm a professional, so there's like processes that I have to follow. But that's more so like for operational aspects. But when you're in it, it's like, it's just about expression. So if I take that and I know, okay, I want to start producing, I want to start like editing videos and stuff like that. Like, how do I do it in a way where I'm expressing and I'm like just learning more about like my capabilities and things of that sort. So that's why I think it's been, I've been more comfortable with like changing the way changing or adding to my role, like within my art as well, so. Yeah.
Do you feel better equipped to handle a project, like even like you change your role, you accommodate the different components that are necessary to push it to like completion, like, and kind of allowing yourself to continuously adapt? Do you feel like better equipped to handle a project, like the direction being misinterpreted by the consumer, or just kind of flopping in terms of like whatever metrics you had for yourself? Like, in adopting the different roles, are you now comfortable with maybe having a project where the only person who, not the only person, but like a large component of the people who you were trying to reach, they reach it in a different way, or it just kind of doesn't do what you wanted to do?
I think over time you gotta create your own metric system, especially when you're like making the thing that you want to put out into the world. Like you gotta be able to know like, all right, to me, does this hit like all the frequencies that it needs to? And I think like if you think too much about like something being misinterpreted, then I think you kind of, in a way, you'll start to just water down the thing that you really want to do. And it's all just like, again, going back to the that platform to like express yourself, like it's all got to be for you, because one day at some point you're gonna give it to the world and like it's kind of like no longer yours. So I think in that, you gotta really just align yourself with like the process and get everything out, be as vulnerable as possible. Because it's like, it can be misinterpreted, but like, that's what the thing is. Like, it's gonna be in the world and it's gonna be interpreted. Like, there's no stopping someone from like seeing something differently than you saw it. Like, that's just what it's gonna be. So if your reason for making like the piece of art or like an album or like this painting is for it to be accepted by everyone, then it's just not gonna, it's like over 8 billion people in the world. Like, it's just,
it's like, what's the point
there's
of
no
making
point
it?
to that. Like,
Yeah.
So
like, what's the point of making it if it's for everybody?
Yeah,
and it's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
When you start to, you said make your own metrics of success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't that be like a slippery slope if now the metrics of success you make, you're always comfortable with it, but there's no real tangible world output? Like, we make art, but we like our art. We don't care if nobody else makes it. But if you're, you said like yourself, you're a professional. There's a certain level of response that you want to receive. And if it's not received, it's like, okay, am I a professional or is this a hobby?
Yeah. I think it's fully understanding, like for me, like it's a profession. And I know that at some point, as much as I'm making it for myself and I'm able to find out things about myself, I'm able to be vulnerable, I'm able to tell my story, I'm able to get out this thing that I like. I know at some point it's gonna be put in an arena with all these other things. And I think that's where like you have to have a level of awareness of knowing like how, not so much like how it matches up, but doing things around it to give it a chance to compete. I make this thing that I fuck with, and like it's like, what are the business operations that I gotta put in place to allow this thing to compete? Because again, it's in an arena. Like, it's gonna be, and it's not to say that like it's not even like a win or lose thing. It's just like you want to push it to give people a chance to experience what you experience while making it, right? Like, so there's like these other things like PR, there's marketing, there's sales, like there's advertisement and things like that. Those are very structural things that like maybe artists don't like because they don't like those words. But what you really got to do is like, okay, if you're really just on some, I just want to be about the art, then you turn those things into art forms. So like, even right now with this project I'm working on with Reggie, like we've been doing like performance art as like the marketing for it. And it adds an extension to like the world building that you're doing, as opposed to like, now like you could talk to like execs and just people in the industry, and there's these like blanket mechanisms that are being used and to like push art, but it's just like that sometimes, not saying that those things don't work, but sometimes it doesn't help with carving out the identity of the artist. Like, like certain artists are gonna give you a certain thing. Like, I think it was either Black Skinhead or New Slave when Ye projected his face over like, it was like 60 something buildings around the world when he dropped the single. Like, that's just some Ye shit. Like, you gotta have your shit, like, or else it's just gonna feel like you're in a loop of this industry, and it's like you're allowing it to define what you want to do. But like, if you find out like your shit that you want to do and how you want to do it, is you're gonna live longer in it. Not in a sense of like metrics of outside looking in. It's just you're gonna live long with it in the terms of like having a real relationship with your art. So
yeah, I remember I was telling you that when we was finishing up the album, like we got to make sure that like when we're making it, we have to make sure to just really remain on task. Yeah. So
I remember that one.
Reggie wasn't really.
Yeah. I don't think Reggie was there for that session, but
you know what we talk about though. But like, so in all of these things, when you're talking about making the art for you and being prepared to like kind of accept what that means and what that comes with, like, how do you define like, how do you define what a complete artist is to you? And would you say you're a complete artist today?
I think I think being a complete artist is not so much about like checking boxes off, right? I think it's like, am I like fully invested in like my artistry, right? Like, and that sometimes comes with accepting and being aware that you're not as complete as you want to be. Like, it's about like pushing yourself. Like right now, like for me, I'm trying to like vocally perform better on records. Like I'm trying to like, I want to make better bridges. Like, and like all that comes in, like I think through those things, I reflect on those things because I want to be like more so the best version of what I could be. And it's about like a lot of chiseling down. It's a lot about like not thinking too much when you're in the process of recording or you're writing. Like even writing, like I want to like, even with my lyricism, build more of like an identity with that. So that way it cuts through.
Do you think when it comes to writing a chorus, because I've always been interested, like I feel like a lot of songs that like go viral or pop, the chorus kind of has like, maybe not always a call response, but it's something that you can easily repeat.
Yeah.
And it has certain like, I think like sounds that like kind of allow, I don't want to say like there's like a, I guess like a crescendo and like it when you, like it can be like very screamable, very easy. So like, I don't remember the name of the song on that project, but where it's like, I don't even think this is the chorus either. Is it the I can?
Oh, that's like outro. Yeah.
So like when I'm like, I think like I can, like I'm walking around and I'm like, I'm saying in the group chat, I'm saying wherever, because it's like, it's very easily repeatable and those are words you say every day.
Yeah.
When you are like writing songs, like what is your approach in terms of like bridges, outros, choruses? Are you thinking of something that can get caught in people's head or something like, what's your approach to that?
I think it's more so about like, what is this soundscape like pulling, like how, what am I pulling for myself that like, that just kind of works as like an extra instrument to this soundscape that's already there, right? Like, and it's about like, I think the reason why certain things tire us out as far as like being consumers and what we hear is because like, it's not even, it's beyond the fact that like maybe certain things like sound the same, but it's like everyone is approaching those sounds the same way. And I think it's about like even with like choruses, honestly, like I'll just be, like I'll turn my voice note on and I'll just get wonky and like just not take myself like too seriously because like there's these things like, there's like BPM, there's like rhythm, there's these very like structural things to music. But in that, like when it's in, it's like, when you're just hearing it, it's not like so structured and you don't have to like even approach it that way. It's just about like, okay, like how can I have fun on this? Like I'll just start crooning like on a voice note for like 5 minutes and it's gonna be something in there that I can be like, okay, I could pull from this and then I could write from there. And then the world starts opening up. And that's when you start adding your own color to like this palette that's in front of you. So,
I don't know why I can't imagine you crooning.
Yeah, man. We got like probably 1,000 voice notes.
Really?
Just like, so, yeah.
Do you have to get to like a specific place? Like, can you just like, hey, like you get an idea on your regular, like daily proceedings and you're like, hey, let me just run to the bathroom room and get like a quick croon out, like?
I think sometimes, like I'll be walking, getting groceries and like I'll try to see if the sidewalk is not as packed and I'll see if I could sneak like a melody. Sometimes it just be in my room. I think it's just like, it's a zone you get into. Even when you're in the sessions themselves, like you always want to be, and not only like for music, but like everything, you want to be in a room where like everyone is not only okay with you doing that, but they're okay with themselves doing that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, let's be unconventional. Like let's let's push like the envelope on like something that just feels different, something that feels aligned with what we want to do. Like the more and more you surround yourself with those type of people, the more and more you're like, it's more probable that you're gonna end up carving out like this new thing, something that feels like fresh to the ears, something that feels fresh to the eyes, that feels like genuine and intentional. So, yeah.
Was that approach present when you and Reggie Volume made Black Moss?
Yeah, I mean, Black Moss was like, I remember, so this is around the time like this, when we all like.
Also, you're not slick because you were supposed to bring my hat today, but.
Oh, bad. I'll talk to
Okay.
operations about that. I got you.
I'm not
But nah, Black Moss, like started just from a conversation about like Reggie and I. We both like around that time, in the span of a couple months, had both lost like people close to us to gun violence, and that made us like, we just had a conversation. We were just in the basement. We had a conversation about that, and it led us to talk about like fate, like how life is fragile. We talked about like the inner child, things of that nature, and I think that conversation is what like gave birth to just like the comfort level to be vulnerable, to push ourselves to write about something intentional. But like, I mean, for me, I think a big thing about even just approaching certain melodies a certain way or vocals a certain way is like Reggie laying the platform of like the soundscape itself. And that being something like, cause it's something you have to perform on. And so like that opened me up to just like, all right, let me write differently. And even then, like, I remember the intro was like the first thing we made. And that was like, it took me a few days to figure out like how I wanted to sound on it, just cause like, I was like, I don't really, like, I feel like what I'm writing is good, but I don't think I'm performing it that well. And so that day I just was like, let me just listen to like punk music, and like, just looked up like, just like history of punk and just like seeing all that. And I think those things, that's how you really can explore sound the right way, where like, it's less about like you hearing something and like, you know, now it's like the Jersey club drums are like the main thing that's on like a lot of records. And it's less about like people hearing it and knowing that, oh, this is what's working, let me just add it to what I'm doing. It's more about like being an explorer and like just kind of taking in information on the sound in itself. So just listening to like different kind of punk music, and then you just hear how like they perform. And I just remember just like going on a walk to like the grocery store and just bumping. It's this group called Death. Actually like credited with being like the first punk band.
Like ever?
Yeah, ever.
Oh, wow.
It's an all black group too. And they just hearing their records, like, and just seeing how like they had like the punk shit in there, but like they also just had these like very meditative records. So like it's kind of shows how it could be like a spectrum in a sense. So, but that kind of opened me up to just like how to perform on those records. And you start to unlock like these new flows, you unlock like a new character within yourself, a new voice. And that goes back to the whole thing about like being complete as an artist. It's less about like, this person has hits, this person has like these streams, and this person makes good art. It's like, it's more about like, oh, I'm seeing them discover and rediscover themselves like each time that they put something out. So
would you say like there's an example of someone in the industry who's great at being a complete artist, but still has an example of, I guess, commercial success, but like a true artist?
Yeah, I think like a real standout, I'll say, is like I think someone like Kendrick for sure, because we get like you actually kind of don't know what you're gonna get in terms of like what the sound is gonna be.
Yeah.
I think someone like Childish Gambino, like when you hear like his older stuff where he's more so rapping, to now that it's like more melodic, like you went from like soulful to like more electronic. I think those two kind of to me stand out a lot. Like Ye for sure.
Or even Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler. Tyler, I feel like from what he was making first to like really now, where like it's like so musical and he like leaned into it a lot. So and I think, and sometimes it's like I don't think any of those guys are like were ever making or ever trying to make like the popular thing. I think they just were really fully aligned with the thing that they want to make.
Yeah.
And then they figured out like, okay, how do I push it to play in like, or to allow it to compete in these like spaces and these arenas and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Last question I have for you is, who is Hantz?
Shit. I think, I think at the root of everything, I think Hans tries to be like empathetic and understanding. And I think that is what seeps into just like all other facets of my life. And then like even the art itself, like I'm just trying to like understand myself, understand other people, just understand things, and then like everything kind of works out from there. So
You think would you say understanding is one of the themes of the album?
I think like understanding, I would say in terms of like the themes of the album, it's more centered around like, just like how like life can be like fragile. I think if anything, it was just, you know, spending time understanding that. So like it's not so much about understanding, but I think understanding is a big component in the process of like making anything. Is like I'm just trying to understand like either myself or like my stories or just like certain conversations centered around life. And this one was more about like inner child, more so like fate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of just brought me to there, so. Or brought Reggie and I to there. So.
And where can we hear you guys' album Black Moss?
Pretty sure it'll probably be everywhere by the time this comes out, but right now you can go to blackmoss.com, BLKMOSS.com, and you can buy it, support your artists, and pay our rent. So
appreciate you for coming out. How's the Lakeside? You still the Vagabond, right?
Yeah, you can say Hantz.
I'm gonna say the Lakeside Vagabond.
Right.
Hantz, the Lakeside Vagabond people, and that's a wrap.